You're hearing now. Great, gracious speaker. Okay, here is it.
So you don't bad mind the Prime Minister?
Bad mind him, no. But when him keep up arms house, I point it out. Never come and say, well, you know what? If I win, I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna take my salary after.
You sound good, neighbor.
Never mention that. Come in and debate with.
Say that again.
You sound good.
All right, great. Okay.
Me, never disclose it. Bam! After win the election, so next thing we hear, the Prime Minister is going to take a big salary after all. So I'm saying that con business that. You should have tell the people say you intended to do that. So that is why I'm coming with the bad mind hat. But it's not bad mind. It's pointing out that this was a very dishonest thing for a Prime Minister to withhold that information from the people, which is something he knows would have been a very relevant consideration in their minds because he knows how strong the people felt about it, which is why he didn't disclose it in the first place. Now, as opposition, we must point out these things. Not bad mind, that's our job.
But he's saying that the opposition spokespersons, they were happy for the retroactive increase.
So I'm saying, somebody call him and tell him keep it. Yeah, I don't know. He didn't disclose who that person is. And listen, each person has to make up their own mind about their life and how them deal with things. But from a policy perspective, I was upset about it because I remember the teachers were fighting hard. And Nigel Clark, who was then the minister, was pressuring them and saying if they didn't accept the offer, their retroactive was going to be deferred for years and so on. And they capitulated and accepted the offer. And they got the classroom teachers got 20% over 3 years. And then within a month, them come to Parliament and say Cabinet approved 200 and something % increase for ministers. And I was like, no, sir. That's not right. And how can you make that decision as a government for yourself and have other people who are out there delivering critical services like teaching, nursing, etc., and they're not going to feel justified by that?
So you don't bad mind the Prime Minister?
Bad mind him, no. But when him keep up arms house, I thought
something is wrong in Jamaica. The leader of the opposition have something against the Prime Minister. What it is? What it is that Mr. Golding have against Andrew Holness. It's time to call it out. Because this no ordinary. What it is? Listen to Mr. Golding.
And the Prime Minister?
Bad mind him, no. But when him keep up arms house, I point it out. Never come on.
The Prime Minister is keeping up arms house. The Prime Minister is keeping up arms house to accept your salary is arms house. What is arms house? What is arms house? When you say someone is keeping up arms house, what do you mean? An arms house is a charitable home for the needy. So alms giving, poor house. An alms house is funded by benefactors, charity. And when you say that the PM is keeping up arms house, what you are saying is that he's distributing public funds in a personal, possibly selective way. Like the benefactor chooses who get the charity. In other words, Golden is saying that the Prime Minister treats government resources as his private handout. Rather than managing them fairly and officially. That's what the opposition leader is saying, that keep that collar, push up, don't put him out of the box. What Mr. Gordon is saying is that the Prime Minister is distributing public funds in a personal way. In other words, in tech, the increase. In other words, it was not. It's almost like saying that the Prime Minister determines how much him to get by himself. In other words, the PM is treating government resources like personal charity. Listen to it again.
No bad mind the Prime Minister.
Bad mind him, no. But when him keep up arms house, I point it out. Never come up.
The Prime Minister is treating government resources like a poorhouse. What the opposition leader is saying is that the Prime Minister is not deserving of the salary. That the Prime Minister is awarding himself this increase. And he's treating it like it's just a charitable thing. So then, is it the Prime Minister alone that got a salary increase? And if the Prime Minister is keeping up arms house, isn't Mr. Golden keeping up the same arms house? Because did Mr. Golden reject? I don't even know if I want to spend any time on the salary matter, because it's just so disheartening. The question is, why is Mr. Golden continues to talk down to the Prime Minister? Why is the opposition leader not showing some greater, tact when he speaks of the Prime Minister? Listen to the tone. Listen to him again. Play one more time.
So you don't bad mind the Prime Minister?
Bad mind him, no. But when him keep up arms house, I point it out. Never come and say, well, you know what?
Prime Minister keep up arms house.
But if I win, I'm gonna take my salary after all. No, never mention that. Come in and debate with me, never disclose it. Bam.
So the Prime Minister went to the debate, and he's to go to the debate to tell Mr. Golden that he's going to take his salary. The debate was not about the Prime Minister's salary, and the Prime Minister never set the questions for the debate. the Prime Minister answered the questions that were put to him. The matter of the salary did not come up in the debate, Mr. Golding. Why would he mention his salary when clearly he didn't know whether or not he was going to win the election? The Prime Minister clearly said that after a new mandate, it could be considered. The mandate wasn't determined at the debate. What is the opposition leader talking about? And listen to what he goes on to say.
As they win the election, so next thing we hear, oh, the Prime Minister is going to take a big salary after all. So I'm saying it's a con business, that.
It's a con. It's a con business, that. Prime Minister taking his salary. Con the people of Jamaica. Oh, boy, I tell you the truth. This is woeful. The PM is not enriching himself unfairly, Mr. Golding. He's simply receiving what Parliament approved. As has Dayton Campbell, Peter Bunting, Nikisha Burchell, yourself, Philip Paulwell, Angela Bond-Burke, all of them. But for the Prime Minister is a con. No, Mr. Golding. Where is the dishonesty? Is not extra the Prime Minister take? Not nice of you, sir. Not nice of you at all. And again, I am asking the question: what you have against Mr. Holness, Mr. Gold? What do you have against it? What do you have against the Prime Minister? Just leave the Prime Minister, make him govern the country alone, man. It's getting personal. Yeah? Personal, man. And it's not sound good. Just leave the Prime Minister alone, man. Let the man know. You know, Mr. Vaz, in a letter he wrote to the Observer, spoke of the unrelenting attacks on the Prime Minister. Man, breathe a little, man. Every day you get up a bad-minded Prime Minister and talk down upon the Prime Minister. You went to the debate. You call him Andrew. You have all type of night things to say about him. Leave the Prime Minister alone, man. You know, Mr. Vaz, in his article, said that the Prime Minister is the best we have had. Look at what Mr. Holness has done for Jamaica. You know, I have this book on my decks, and ever so often I pick it up and I look at it. Yes? Achievements after achievements after achievement happening in Jamaica. Every sector of Jamaica. And him can't do nothing for Mark Golding. Mark Golding, leave the people's them Prime Minister alone. Leave him alone, man. This is what you need to focus on, Mr. Golding.
Welcome back to another episode of Bull Talks Podcast.
Well let's go to that. Here is it. Here is it.
But going into politics, me realize I be a power hungry people me go around. So everybody want to be the leader.
Power hungry. Is that the problem? You did there a talk about the Prime Minister's salary. Listen what one of your own describe the organization that you lead. Listen to him. But the Prime Minister keep up arms house. You're out of order, Mr. Colin. It's one of those, you know. Boy, I tell you. Arms house, sir. See the arms house. You want to hear about arms house? You want to hear about arms house? Here is sit here.
You understand what I mean? Because them have it as a leader-centric party. So it's not.
Your party is a leader-centric party. And that's what the arms house there. That's the arms house business. When you run a party that is leader-centric. Marcel 10, you come talk to me. Or you're hiding in the chat. Come talk to me, man. This is arms house. You want to hear about arms house? Go ahead.
Not a round table where you know say, all right, I'm a specialist in that, I'm a specialist in that, I'm a specialist in that. So everybody, no, you go, everybody dictate to you what them feel say if you go, or how them feel say if you go. And if you not take it, the particular premise that they hold, you have your own premise, it create a problem between you and them. But what I recognize, especially in my party that I join, is not a loving environment.
Not a loving environment, Mr. Golin. Your party is not a loving environment. And that you figure up on the podcast to talk about. Right? Not the Prime Minister's salary. Attacking the Prime. Don't help. Yes. While your own party is mashing up.
Where people see you as a prodigy and see you and help to provide a foundation to uplift you. If they see you as a prodigy, no push.
No push. That's what you are presiding over, sir. A party that pushes no one. You go talking about Prime Minister keeping up arms house. That he is treating government resources like his own personal charity. Because he decides, my God, to accept a salary, not approved by himself, but approved by the cabinet. And your people, not one of them. And when they asked him about the Prime Minister, I saw him say, listen to Golin. I saw him say, you know, have no regard for the Prime Minister at all, you know, Mr. Golin. Mr. Golin and the Prime Minister. I don't know why the Prime Minister even bothered to
You don't bad mind the Prime Minister.
Which is why he didn't disclose it in the first place. No, as opposition, we must point out these things. It's not bad mind, that's our job.
But he's saying that the opposition spokespersons, they were happy for the retroactive increase.
So him say somebody call him and tell him keep it. Yeah, I don't know. He didn't disclose who that person is.
No, listen to that. So him say, remember, the man is talking about the Prime Minister of Jamaica. So him say, listen how Mr. Golin class the Prime Minister. So him say, in other words, he not even ever true me Prime Minister talk. Because the Prime Minister did not name the person that called him. But the Prime Minister said it was someone on that side. So how you mean I saw him say? What you mean I not saw him say? The Prime Minister got a call.
And listen, each person has to make up their own
spokespersons, they were happy for the retroactive increase.
So I'm saying, somebody call him and tell him keep it. Yeah, I don't know. He didn't disclose who that person is, and
I don't know. In other words, it could be true and it could not. It may not be true. That's what Mr. Golden is saying there. So him say, when you say, I saw him say, you are saying it is unverified. We don't know if it's true. We don't know if it's true. In other words, Mr. Golden is saying that the Prime Minister may very well be lying. Why would the Prime Minister go in the Parliament and lie? The Prime Minister says somebody call him from the opposition side. The Prime Minister says he's speaking the truth. But listen to Mr. Golden's dismissiveness. Listen how he dismisses the Prime Minister. So him say, the Prime Minister is talking about, the leader of the country. And I'm not pointing this out because I want to be partisan. I am pointing this out because Mr. Golden, in his budget presentation, spoke of creating a more gentle society. The way we treat each other. And listen how Mr. Golden is treating the Prime Minister. Very concerning. Very, very concerning. Meanwhile, this is happening over there.
It's a thing where you become a target.
Yes. So, to them, the last time Andre was a senator, he said this, he said that. So, he made them pray. And I say, you don't know if you play ball as a team player. You understand what I mean?
Whereas
even when the team are the
different.
nonsense, you know more on the team, you must know subject your moral understanding, your calculation. For idiot, we don't calculate nothing. You understand? Them self-centered. Them only mean they're self-good. So
Them self-centered. Them only mean they're self-good. That is the description of the party that Mark Golden is presiding over. A self-centered party that no mean nobody no good. A arms house that. A that are the arms house. You want to talk about arms house? That is arms house. Want to hear more? You want to hear more arms house?
then I mean, the country to them a gimmicks thing.
The country to them are gimmicks. A that are arms house. A that are the arms house, Mark Golden. When you don't mean the country not good, a arms house that. When the country is being described by a former senator, that you know, mean the country not good, and that are the arms house. And the Jamaica Labour Party need to say something about this, The opposition leader not supposed to talk about the Prime Minister and keep up no arms house. And that him a con the people of Jamaica. There is no con, Mark Golden. There is no con here. Hold on there, Why I tell you.
Our listeners, could you please tap and share? And also for those of you who haven't, could you please repost the live?
Oh boy. Mr. Golden said is a con thing. Yes? Is a when you con someone, it means that you deceive them or you trick them to get money. The Prime Minister con Jamaica to get money. What part? Con is a strategic deception designed to manipulate you. Biggest con in Jamaica was Finsack. Talk about con. Fake. That's a con. Scam. That's a con. And that is what the opposition leader is suggesting, that the Prime Minister of Jamaica is deceiving us, that he is fake, that he is pretending. Yes? That he is a trickster, a con artist. That's not nice. G2K, you have a new president. Put out a statement. Put out a statement on a press release on this. Bring it to public's attention. Bring it to the public attention. That the opposition leader is calling the Prime Minister of Jamaica a con artist. It's a con. I don't want to misquote him, so you let me play it for you to listen.
That the government, the opposition spokespersons, they were happy for the retroactive increase.
So I'm saying, somebody call him and tell him keep it. Yeah, I don't know. He didn't disclose who that person is. And listen, each person has to make up their own prime minister to withhold that information from the people, which is something he knows would have been a very relevant consideration in their minds, because he knows how strong the people felt about it, which is why he didn't disclose it in the first place. Now, as opposition, we must point out these things. It's not bad mind. That's our job.
But he's saying that the government, the opposition spokespersons, they were happy for the retroactive increase.
So I'm saying, somebody call him and tell him keep it. Yeah, I don't know. He didn't disclose who that person is. And listen, each person has to make up their own mind about their life and how them deal with things. But from a policy perspective, I was upset about it, because I remember the teachers were fighting hard, and Nigel Clark, who was then the minister, was pressuring them and saying if they didn't accept the offer, their retroactive was going to be deferred for years and so on. And they capitulated and accepted the offer. And they got the classroom teachers got 20% over 3 years. And then within a month, them come to Parliament and say cabinet approved 200 and something % increase for ministers. And I was like, no, sir. That's not right. And how can you make that decision as a government for yourself and have other people who are out there delivering critical services like teaching, nursing, etc., and they're not going to feel justified by that?
So you don't bad mind the Prime Minister?
Bad mind him, no. But when him keep up arms house, I point it out. Never come and say, well, you know what? If I win, I'm going to get that. I'm going to take my salary after all. No, never mention that. Come in and debate with me. Never disclose it. Bam. After win the election, so next thing we hear, the Prime Minister is going to take a big salary after all. So I'm saying, a con business that. You should have tell the people.
There you go. A con business that. So he's not saying the Prime Minister is a con man, but he's saying that the actions of the Prime Minister resembles that of a con artist. I am calling upon young Jamaica. I am calling upon G2K. Bring this to public attention. Bring this to the public's attention. I am calling upon civil society. Tell Mr. Golding to stop using those terms to describe the Prime Minister. Politics, the cut and thrust of politics, I understand. This is demeaning. It is derogatory. And it is a disrespect to the office and the holder of the office. to have referred to the Prime Minister's behavior as almshouse and conving diminishes the man. And the reasoning behind it is flawed, it is illogical, and it is dishonest. Because the Prime Minister did not take his salary out of context. He accepted a salary that went through a process. And it is the same process that determined the salary of the leader of the opposition. I tell you this today, in this country, Jamaica, that I live. We no fear down here, We no fear down in the country here, There is no extra money that was taken. Where is the dishonesty? It could only be dishonest if the Prime Minister took the money illegally. Was it illegal? A country has no fear. Why Mr. Holness himself? Why, me I tell you, man. Did the Prime Minister claim a salary he wasn't entitled? Did the Prime Minister use public funds for personal charity or favors? People will pay, everybody pay the Prime Minister. Huh? So when you call it alms house, that's no loaded language, man. And a failing, a moral failing. Official. Did the judges keep up alms house? The nurses? The superintendents of it's bias, Mr. Golden. It's a bias that you have against the man. What the opposition is doing is that they are trying to make a neutral action look ethically dubious. Let me tell you something. I don't even know. I'm so disappointed by this. You see that? By it. Trying to make a neutral action look that no wrong, man. Pick up the matter here. Point out to the public. You want me to write the press release for you? The opposition is doing is classic framing bias. Dubious. The Prime Minister did absolutely nothing wrong, and Mr. Golden is making it. That is wrong from the opposition leader. It is wrong. That is what is ethically wrong. And honestly, and you are presenting it as if to say, I have done something wrong. May God help us in this country who are prepared to speak the truth. All who serve there is no peace like everyone else. The accusation is rhetorical and it is intended to cast moral. What the opposition leader wants to do is to mess up the prime minister. That's not. Are in Jamaica, and I guess we just have to work with it. They say that it's not the same time leaf drop in a drum bottom, it rock, things that are creeping into our politics, and we need to call it out. Let's finish with him.
Them not see people as being subjects. Yeah. So once them going at
if Mr. Golden sees the Prime Minister as how does Mr. Golden see Andrew Holness? I could tell you stories, you see, about history, about classism, about disrupt your dinner. Most man is the wolf of man. Man is man's greatest enemy. Problems of the world is not a problem of God, It's how men have treated man's greatest enemy. Man is wolf to man. We blame God. Injustices. Yes. Inequalities. Experience as human beings. It's not a feature of God. It's not God doing that. It's man. I wonder if it's a feature of I don't even know. I don't even. I tell you.
Them see people them as being subjects. So once them going at that, them feel say, okay, all right, we a leader, them a follower.
There's lot there to unpack. Lots to unpack. No. Is Harry there or Scratchy? I could take them over 15 minutes. Is Harry there or Scratchy? Me? Do I have Harry? Do I have Scratchy? Help me out there. Moderator. Do I have a clock? In Jamaica, 8:45 in the United States. Florida, if you are there.
Invited to come up.
Okay. Who do I have? Okay, let me see. I've torn up the script tonight. Harry, do you not get the sense listening to Mark Golding that there is something personal going on between himself and the Prime Minister? This is not about the salary, Harry, because what has the Prime Minister done that is so unethical that Golding is calling it a con thing and it's arms house? For accepting your salary, Harry, you work in Kingston, and if you get a salary increase, Harry, wouldn't you take it, sir?
For such a long time as well, right?
So what is the arms house that the opposition leader is talking about? The Prime Minister, you see it.
Well, you have to understand, neighbor. You see, when somebody has something that you so desire, like you covet it, right? And you can't get it, but you think you are deserving of it and it is your right, then you will start to say things like this. Because if you look at it, right, it is one, and I don't want to say it's personal between both. I want to say it's personal on one side, because in this case, they would have taken two to tango. And the only person beating up them chest and biting up them gum is Mark Golding, still being somebody who he genuinely isn't. And as such, he wants to paint the Prime Minister in a light where he may be able to match up to him, right? Because the truth is, as it stands, he's unable to rise to the level where the Prime Minister is currently, right? And that is a problem for him. So the next best thing to do is to try and tear him down to a level now where you can be seen as if you're elevated. Case in point, the People's National Party was going through a turmoil in 2020, right? Leadership split the party and they lost miserably. Now the party's on a somewhat of a solidarity under him, and as such, they would have, quote unquote, gotten back 14 seats. To them, despite losing, to them, they would have seen, and to Mark Golding would have seen as if he's stronger now, as if he has have that level of backing where he's deserving of it. He has brought the party from out of turmoil, and he is the man. But the truth is, you've still lost. You are still not best equipped to lead the country and lead the nation. And as such, you have to accept. And this is a problem when you don't accept where you are in a neighbor. You have to, and this is something for the people of Jamaica. I can loudly say this. Mark Golding, based on his actions and his words, is saying to each and every Jamaican that went to the poll on September 3rd, 2025, that he does not accept your decision. It is not in his favor, and as such, he does not see it as you have voted him out. Case in point again, he's been in terms of in the opposition before, but with the additional 14 seats, he thinks that he has now received greater responsibilities. Remember, it's the same opposition, no change, right? The only difference is that they may have an additional 14 member, but the goals, the task put for the opposition has never changed. You're supposed to be operating as an alternative government, providing proper alternative solutions and be viable. That will never ever change. Doesn't matter if it's green or orange. As opposition, that is always going to be their job. They're going to still be the watchdog.
Help me with something, Harry. What is called framing bias. Trying to make a neutral action look ethically dubious. Is this not distastable? How could you be putting it out in the public as if to say the Prime Minister is a con, is doing something wrong? That's not true, man.
Well,
you could argue about the size of the increase. I grant you that, but don't say that he shouldn't have accepted it, or he should have said it at the debate. That is not ethically correct, Harry.
It is not. In fact, it has that level of I'd say the loathsome aspect of it, neighbor, being distasteful from him, especially with the fact that if we're to look at it pound for pound, task for task, job description for job description, Mark Golding should not even be uttering a word. I said it earlier in the chat. This is one of the biggest robbery in Jamaica's history for an opposition to be getting that much money to do nothing, right? And the job description stands as is, because Mark Golding has not been doing anything to be getting a difference of roughly $2 million less than a prime minister that has to work for his salary. Because put it into perspective, if Andrew Holness does not do his job, he's voted out. So he has to work for his salary. The opposition can sit down and be nice and dandy and collecting $20 million without doing anything. But in the way in which he's saying, for him as the opposition, he adds value. He earns this $20 million, but Andrew Holness does not. Under what circumstances and under what system and which democratic process and governance does that hold true? And I'd love for the so-called integrity boss to come and speak to that. He's still all up about trying to discredit the Prime Minister, and as such, he has made it personal. Andrew Holness has not. Andrew Holness has definitely not. Andrew Holness has not tried to target his family, right? He definitely has not tried to outright be on the front foot to discredit the character of Mark Golding, despite Mark Golding giving you every single chance to discredit him. Even himself puts it out to discredit himself, right? And it just shows the type of person he has become. Because understand this, neighbor, when you aren't cut out for something, in order to stay at the helm, you have to become something else. And I know people will say, yes, that is how he has always been. Not necessarily, right? They said, absolute power, how is it saying? Absolute power corrupts absolutely, right?
Power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Exactly. And that is why you're seeing a total different person. He's no power hunger. Andre Horton said it's all self-centered. But in this case, Mark Golding has not accepted the fact that Jamaica has put him where he rightfully belongs and probably doesn't even deserve to be the opposition leader, because he's not doing even an average job doing so. But the truth is, you have to have an administration and somebody who lead the country and an opposition. good thing for the nation. He is the opposition. And that's what he has to accept. You cannot refuse the people who has gone to the ballot box in one breath to say, oh, they've given you the responsibility of the opposition. And then in another breath, while attacking the very person the people have voted for, right? It's not that they've voted against you, you know. They voted for somebody else who is better suited. And you're coming out now while attacking that person from a personal standpoint to discredit him and the integrity aspect of it, and then also rejecting the decision of the people of Jamaica on September 3rd. That is not somebody you want to even have an ounce of opportunity to become the next prime minister, and I stand by that.
Hold on there for me, Harry. Gustav, how are you doing?
Top of the night to you, neighbor, Mr. Harry.
Yes, sir.
Line and others, you know. Yes, neighbor.
Go ahead, Gustav.
Oh, well, really and truly, neighbor, after listening to you, I would just share my views on Mark Golding,
Yes.
and so forth. But really
Well,
and truly,
I don't want you to share your views on him. I want you to comment on him saying that the Prime Minister keep up arms house and that it is con thing for the Prime Minister to have accepted his salary. What is happening here, Gustav? Why is the Prime Minister's salary continuing to be the subject of debate?
It's not a subject of debate in a neighbor. Mr. Golding is playing the politics clever, and whether or not it is to our liking or it is fair, he's just being politically clever. No, it's just rather unfortunate that the mechanism that he rathers to use to be politically clever is a questionable mechanism. You know what I mean? Because he up to use a mechanism of dishonesty, semantics, and always being differing from reality, and trying to create or insinuate a perception out here in the wide public against the Prime Minister so as to taint his reputation. That's just an attempt, because the thing is this, in the neighbor, he's still in pain after losing at the polls. So he's also trying to just throw out the kitchen sink, metaphorically speaking, given that he's no longer going to be the opposition leader in short time from now. So in other words, he's saying to himself, based on how he's portraying himself, I have my money already, I have nothing to lose either way. So even with critiques against me, I'm not going back as an opposition leader. But whilst I last as the opposition leader, I may well just throw out the kitchen sink, whether it be to the liking of people or not, because he has nothing to lose politically. And otherwise possibly because he also would have enriched himself on the backs of Jamaicans already. So in all sense, he has nothing to lose politically and financially, and given the reality that he will no longer, or in a short time from now, be Jamaica's opposition leader, he's just being mischievous and in a way that is very dishonest, as I said earlier, my neighbor.
I like that. I like that reasoning from you, Gustav. I like that. That Golding evaluates his own future, and at this time is a desperate act to basically he knows he's in the departure launch, so he's throwing everything at the Prime Minister, knowing very well that it doesn't even matter.
It doesn't matter, neighbor. All right, look at this, Jamaica, neighbor. The politics in Jamaica has changed dramatically for the better. For example, I think the nowadays Jamaicans would rather to have even a younger opposition leader as much as they would like to have a young Prime Minister, as when Andrew Holness would have taken the office as Prime Minister. So in all sense, Golding's political future would have still not looked so bright had he even became Prime Minister, right? But given that he didn't become Prime Minister, he's agonizingly being mischievous, neighbor, because he knows that if a Holness wants to continue, then Wholeness in the eyes of the Jamaican people is still favorable for being prime minister. And after this term is completed and the success story is revealed to the people, that will even add more pedigree to the prime minister going back to the polls if he were to want to go back to the polls again. Unlike a Golden, who has no intention nor any potential of being re-elected as an opposition leader, much as prime minister, he's just doing what I say he's doing, neighbor. Mischievous and trying to taint the prime minister's reputation and also portray him in the eyes of the Jamaican people that no matter what, Wholeness a criminal. That's all he's trying to do. So when he gone out of politics, he must still stand for Andrew say, him and Golden create a perception in the people in mind, say Andrew Wholeness is a criminal. And in his mind, he would have accomplished something politically if he were to taint successfully the character of the prime minister.
But isn't this divisive politics and requires a pushback, Gustav? What do you think it should be handled?
Well, how it should be handled, it's kind of like complicating as to how to say how it should be handled, neighbor. Let me tell you why. The persons who should comb through these arguments of Golden and then come to a stance that, look, the utterances of him, Golden, are not supposed to be made at all, and he should retract them. But then again, Golden is not the only person that has a vendetta against the prime minister. No,
yes.
The thing is, because Golden, though politically, has a political vendetta against the prime minister, so are the surrogates of the quote-unquote PMP. So even when a Golden acts out of sort in terms of demeanor and decorum, they would like hush in the name of being PMP, because they too are also disgruntled at a JLP being victorious at the poll and then Wholeness being prime minister. Listen to how everybody assassinates his character in the streets and even in the parliament. It's as if there's a hate. There's a manufactured hate for the man. I mean, it's just like there's a bitterness, neighbor, within the political structure and also externally. So these arguments from Golden, the pundits who are supposed to critique these arguments, they too have a political preference. And sadly, you mean
media practitioners.
Thank you very much, sir. So they too have political lineage. So if Golden's arguments are not in alignment with how a politician is supposed to portray himself, again, neighbor, they will hush this in the interest of their political loyalty, right? So therefore, who we expect to call them out where we say would have look weight, them will be politically biased, because to me, them have a vendetta against the prime minister as well. So that's how I view it. So it's also outside of the PMP that a hate is existing and manufactured for Wholeness himself, and not necessarily the JLP, but more so Andrew Wholeness, quote unquote.